So for years now, people have been talking about this fabled 2010s revival comeback, right? And I've always thought it was pretty stupid. Like, I've always thought it was kind of a dumb thing. Because what does it even mean to have the 2010s come back? It's been 10 years, right? And I get where it comes from, though, right? We've had the 1980s do a comeback. We've had the 1970s definitely came back hard, right? Where's the 2010s? Like, it only makes sense that if you have, like, the 70s come back and the 80s and the 90s, like, the 2000s are, I think, back right now, right? Or whatever. I think that's what I got updated on recently. Where's 2010s? It's going to come back at some point. I disagree with this. Not only because of the very obvious observation I already made that, like, what does it mean to have a 2010s comeback when it was the 2010s, 5 years ago, right? 2019 was technically the 2010s, guys. Like, I don't think anybody realized. I don't know. That annoys me. That's not my reasoning. My reasoning is not based off anything where I think the 2010s can't come back. I actually think maybe it will come back, but I think something else is going to happen. I think culture is just going to hit a place of what I'm going to refer to as everything being on the table. I've heard some people outside of myself talk about this. I should say that right up front here. Some people have said culture will be postmodern. I kind of hate using that word because it's just like buzzword, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those kind of things. But they're right? In postmodern meaning that it's going to be kind of everything's everywhere, all crazy, in its very rudimentary sense. Yeah, sure. I'll get on board with that. But that's what I think it's going to be. I think soon everything's going to be on the table. 100%. I think this is what's going to happen. And the reason I say this is for two reasons. First of all is a very simple observation. Three reasons. Because I want to give the dumbest one first. One, I just think this is going to happen. Like, I just think this makes more sense to me. Because I don't think culture's I think culture's too fragmented, rather, to have just a comeback nowadays, right? The only comeback that I felt was like solid, like everyone was really on board with, was the 80s. After that, everything's been everywhere. And that brings me to my second point here. Out of observation of how these comebacks have been moving so far, these cultural decade-based comebacks, it's not like these comebacks are happening on a schedule, you know what I mean? Or honestly at all. Like, I've heard people go, no, there's no way the 2000s have come back. And then I walk to my another person I know, and they're wearing a juicy tracksuit, and they're only listening to early 2000s music. And they're like, the 2000s are so back. And then I go to another person, they're like, we're still doing the 90s. Like, everybody's kind of everywhere still, right? And on board with that, I think it's interesting, just very colloquially, to observe what's permissible, right? I remember when I was in school, I thought that, like, a couple things were really cool. I thought that pleated pants were really cool. I thought loafers were really cool. What else did I think was cool that, like, I was too embarrassed to do? I thought flat caps were cool. Those really still you can't wear one of those still. But the point is, I thought a lot of things were cool that were considered really dumb, right? And people, like, if I were to wear them to school, as much as I might have wanted to, I'd get made fun of. So I did what most kids do, and I didn't wear them, and I, put on a hoodie and an American Eagle jeans, and was like, I'm cool. This is me. I'm cool now. But now, and this could partially be influenced because it's been years and years since then, and, I'm not in school anymore, so I have a different perception. But from what I observe, it seems like everything's really on the table now. Like, it seems like you can do any and all of those things and you'll be considered cool. And, like, I want to get away from the school thing for a little bit because, yeah, I'm an old man at this point, basically. The way things move nowadays, I'm basically an old man. And, I understand that I'll never be able to level with you kids about how school is in the modern day. But I would like to think for a second of social media, because social media is also a great example of this. We kind of had a 2020s look on social media. I don't know if you guys remember the Visco girl, but that was sort of a 2020s look, I say. I'm going to stand on this. I think the Visco girl was the look of the 2020s, right? I fully believe this, right? And I would go as far as saying that, like, there were many looks of the 2020s. Maybe this was because of the not 2020s, we're still in the 2020s. But maybe this is because of the pandemic. But I think that there were, like, a lot of cultural signifiers to how people were dressing. I don't think it just comes from the pandemic. I think it comes from, like, TikTok kind of blowing up for the first time, and there were a lot of different looks that were kind of like out there and permissible, and you know, you could wear and be cool. Nowadays, so many people are doing so many different things online, there's just so much that's considered cool. And a lot of this also comes back to the way that these styles have come back, right? Which brings me to my third point here. A little while ago, there was an article written on this. I forget the name of the article. We don't do citations. This is an academic program, so I'm just going to stop trying to think of it. But it talks about what it called contemporary retro, right? And it talks about how, like, with all these retro stylings coming back, whether it's in just mainstream culture or like for, you know, younger people as they dress and stuff, they're like not coming back in a uniform sense, right? Like a lot of things will come back that are clashing. For an example, I think flares are back. I think flares are pretty back at this point, right? So that's like 70s. Flares are 70s, I think maybe into early 80s, but like by the 90s, flares were definitely out. It was definitely 70s where it feels like more flares. But also what's back is flannels. Flannels are definitely more of a 90s grunge thing, at least the way that people are wearing them, right? So if those two things are back, and in some cases, by some people being worn together, that doesn't make sense. If in the 90s you wore your flannel with flares, people would say the thing that I've seen them say in all the movies back then, that's so last decade. Seems like that was a digging line back then from these movies I've seen, right? So if all these things, because these things aren't coming back in a direct way of like, we're doing the 70s, as I just said, right? But in them coming back in this disorganized way, they're kind of like almost developing their own language, being referred to as contemporary retro. Now, there's a lot of, I've seen a lot of explanations about this. One, people are broke, so they're thrifting. I kind of don't believe that one. I've been to some of these thrift stores, and at least here in New York, they're not that cheap. So I don't believe that one too much. If anything, I think thrifting's gotten more expensive because people are doing it because it's trendy. I think it's just trendy. Two, I've seen people say like, oh, they yearn for the past or whatever. I don't know. Listen, am I the jury on this? I'm not the jury. I'm not the judge. I have nothing to say. I think you know, it's a combination of multiple things. I think it could also just be that, you know, a lot of the best culture comes from these decades. If you're watching a movie from the 90s and you're like, that guy's so cool, it makes sense you're going to want to throw on his fit. You know, I think that could be a lot of it. I think it's trends are kind of operating in this direction, right? That's not to say you can extrapolate nothing from this, but I largely just tend to go in that direction with it, right? With this being said, with this contemporary retro style, I think, like, if we're to refer to it as the permissible window of this style, right? I think it's wrong to say it hasn't gotten broader. That's for sure. I think the permissible window of what could be considered contemporary retro has definitely gotten broader. More things have been added. Even, I mean, elements of this are just sinking into like normal culture, right? I've been a lifelong hater of the Panda Dunk. That's the one shoe, the Panda Dunk and the Adidas Samba. Two things I've always been a pretty big hater of, right? I'll see people wear those with like, you know, the baggy 2000s jeans and like a flannel, and that's definitely doing multiple things. And I mean, the Panda Dunk is, well, I wouldn't say it's like exactly the most modern shoe ever. It's definitely not. It doesn't fall into any language of a specific decade from what I understand. So since this is just taking on a life of its own, and the permissible window is continually expanding for what you could put in this, with no signs, no signs at least that I can see, of it slowing down, I think it makes a lot of sense to me that soon the 2010s will be in the window. And that soon, I don't think the 2010s will come back in this way that people say it's gonna, where it's like, we're doing the 2010s revival. God forbid, I can't, listen, I wouldn't wear skinny jeans for the first 10 years of my life. More than that, actually, because that was what was in for a long time. I'm not going back to skinny. I can't do it. My legs are too fat. This baggy jean thing, it makes me on trend now, because like that's what the cool people are doing, is the baggy or the straight fit. But like, even before that I was doing it, and you know, because my legs are just so fat. But so I'm hoping it doesn't come back that way, because that'd be rough, and I'm gonna be behind trend if it comes back that way. That's gonna happen, guys, just trust me. But I don't think it's gonna come back in that way. I think it's just gonna come back, and I don't think we're gonna be in a state where you're gonna see an article, well, you'll probably see an article, they love writing articles about anything. I don't think we're gonna be in a state where we have a 2010s official revival, right? But I do think we're going to be in a state where everything is now on the table, and that's where our culture sits. I think the look of the 2020s or maybe the 2030s, I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to last for. I don't know. Listen, don't ask me the specifics. But I think like the look of today will be a combination, a mishmash of everything, because it really does seem to me like everything's on the table, you know? So I don't know. It's kind of impossible to predict these things. I think it's also worth mentioning that we live in such a bubble because we think about these fashion trends, but if you walk to the average guy on the street, he's still wearing just like loose, like skinny to slim fitting straight leg jeans with like a normal jacket and like a t-shirt that's a little long and like some like off-brand, maybe designer sneaker if he's lucky. If he's lucky, I don't think those sneakers are very good looking. If he's wealthy or trying to appear wealthy rather, or just like some normal shoe, like, you know, some New Balance or some Nike shoe, you know, like that's 99% of guys, that's 99% of people. So I don't know, maybe this is all just a bubble, elitist, echo chamber, what are other buzzwords I can throw in here to end off this episode? Bullshit. This is all bullshit. None of this is real. 2010s are never coming back. I'm not wearing skinny jeans. This is the painting. Really different direction today than some of these other ones, huh? Listen, this guy's looking at me, and I think he is saying things to me. So I'm going to call this a win. Wait, I want to do one last stroke. Let's see if this ruins it. I'll call that a win. Go check us out on the TikTok and the Instagram. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Ice. This is Painting episode 338. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.